Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be. I'm Dr. Paul Kreitz, and I'm teaching to you today about time management. And I know you're going to enjoy these sessions. Thank you for enrolling and being a part of this incredible program. I'm the founder and the chancellor of New Covenant University. I founded the university over 3 decades ago, with one goal and one mission: to help you discover your purpose and to help you to walk in the favor and the blessing of the Lord. So anyway, glad to have you here with me today. Glad that you're watching this video teaching, and I'm going to be just taking a few moments to talk to you about the book, A Weapon Called Time, in this time management course. Time is not a search. Time is not a squeeze. Time is not your enemy. Time is not lost, so it can't be found. When someone says, I'm going to try to find the time, time is not lost. Time is a weapon. Time is a weapon awaiting your assignment. Time is a weapon awaiting your assignment. The only difference between people is what they know. The only distinction between people is how they use their time. I want to say that again so you can jot that down. The only difference between people is the only difference between people is what they know, and the only distinction between people is how they use their time. Time is simply a weapon awaiting your assignment. The most important decision, you want to write this down, the most important decision you will ever make is to decide what is important. The most important decision you will ever make is to decide what's important. Successful people know 3 things. They know what to do next. They know, number 2, why it's important. And number 3, they know how to make it happen. Let me give that to you again. Successful people know 3 things: what to do next, why it's important, and how to make it happen. To be successful in life, it's going to require immediate action. Life demands fast, decisive implementation. To achieve that, you've got to believe that the decision that you're executing is the right one, and it's going to move you toward your desired goal. There's no room for hesitation. There's no room for yesterday thinking. We're going to talk to you about the importance of time and how to make the right decisions, how to use time to activate the divine destiny that God has for your life. If you want to see divine destiny and you activate your decisions and time frames, you're going to have unwavering faith. You're going to have to be willing to color outside the lines of logic. You're going to have to be willing to color outside the lines of logic. Number 3, when you work on a project that's time sensitive, you must obtain the assistance of others. You must obtain the assistance of others. You must use your imagination, and you're going to have to use your memory. You're going to have to use your imagination. You're going to have to use your memory. When David faced Goliath, he had to use his memory that he had defeated a bear and a lion. Then he used his imagination of what he was going to do with Goliath. These all fit into time patterns of how you implement your thinking. You must build a daily agenda around your goals and dreams. Let me just stop there and tell you, I'm teaching you from A Weapon Called Time, an incredible, incredible book. A Weapon Called Time. I wrote this book years ago, And it's more, though this class and course is entitled Time Management, it's much more. It's going to teach you how to think correctly regarding time. I'm Dr. Paul Kreitz. I'm the founder, I'm the chancellor of New Covenant University. And for over 30 years, I've been teaching and training teachers and students and leaders and pastors and ministers and business leaders and CEOs all around the world. What you're watching right now, what you're learning, what you're growing in is one of the foundational truths of life. One of the biggest leadership secrets that I've discovered to be an effective leader, you have to know, as I said earlier, you have to know what to do next. You don't have to know the whole plan, but you have to know what to do next. And your number one weapon, now watch this, this is so important that you get this. Your number one weapon as a leader is time. A leader views time more important than he does people. That's hard for you to comprehend, but it's true. A leader views time more important than he does people. A leader doesn't deal with personalities. A leader deals with time frames. A leader does not deal with personalities, he deals with time frames. If you only view people as your only solution, if you only view people as your only solution and not time frames, watch this now. If you only view people as your solution, ultimately you become a manipulator of men. I want to say that again. Subtly, quietly, as you constantly personality to teach and to train and to plug into a problem, plug into a situation. If you don't grasp what I'm saying, that time frames are more important than personalities, and you think override people, you'll become a manipulator of men. Evaluate the goal of a time frame, asking this question: how do people fit in? How do people work into my time frame? This is the time frame I have. How do people work into that time frame? Once you create time frames, then you can learn the greatest acceleration secret there is to time. Let's say you're going to do a project and it takes 45 days from beginning to execution. 45 days in your project. You create time frames. I have to do this in this amount of time. I have to do this. Once this is accomplished, I only have 4 days to do this. I only have 7 days to do this. And you create your time frames. When you are on top of your time frames and you know what needs to be done next, again, this is the key to time leadership, time management. Knowing what to do next. You don't have to always know the whole picture, but you have to know the ingredients of what to do next. You actually can begin to collapse, write that down, collapse time frames. You'll begin to accelerate and move with such a fast pace and getting things done quicker that what was 45 days or 60 days to the normal person, you did in 40. You did in 35 days. You hear people all the time saying, we completed this project on budget and ahead of schedule. Most people don't. I'm just going to tell you, most people don't. I can't tell you the number of people that I've talked to that have gone to build a building or go into a major project and that always goes longer than they thought and it costs more money. Well, that's not a successful person. You want to be a successful person in the area of your time. So you're going to have to focus. And you're going to have to evaluate right now. I want you to get this key. You're going to have to evaluate your use of time every day. You're going to have to evaluate your use of time every day. I say this all the time. What you look at the longest becomes the strongest. What you look at the longest becomes the strongest. Ecclesiastes chapter 8, verse 5. I love that verse. A wise man's heart discerns both time and judgment. A wise man's heart discerns both time and judgment. I'm talking about discerning time today. Do you know how to establish time frames? Do you know how to collapse time frames? How do you set short sets of time? How do you establish short-term goals? Well, you have to have a to-do list. Every day of my life, I carry with me on my phone a to-do list. It's usually created from what didn't get done, and at the night before I go to sleep, I reevaluate what I need to do, what must be done that next day. What must be done now, since I didn't get it done, must be pushed out to being done very soon. And after that, it's not going to get done. It's not going to get done. Your habits of how you use time are creating what is called your daily routine. I want you to write down the words daily routine. Your habits are establishing your daily routine. I want to say that again. Your habits are establishing your daily routine. Your daily routine is moving you toward your desired future, or it's moving you away from it. What you're doing daily, now watch this. What you're doing daily is determining what you're becoming permanently. What you're doing daily is determining what you're becoming permanently. There are several steps to creating a successful routine. I'm going to give those to you right now. I'm Dr. Paul Kreitz. I'm teaching here at New Covenant University. I'm so glad you're enrolled in the program. I'm so glad you're learning. Thousands and thousands and thousands of students have heard what you're hearing right now. Thousands and thousands of students are reading the book, A Weapon Called Time, that you're reading right now. When I was in the Bahamas a number of years ago, the former Prime Minister had asked for an audience for us to meet because he wanted to hear about this Dr. Paul Kreitz that was teaching in his country at an extension campus for a long time in the Bahamas. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, nearly thousands now, graduates from the Bahamas. And he picked up the book that you're holding for this class. He picked up the book, A Weapon Called Time. He picked up the book, A Weapon Called Time. And he began to pour through it. And he had about 8, 10 staff people surrounding him. He's the Prime Minister. And he opens the book and he begins to teach his staff from the book. He begins to teach his staff from the book. And he began to share with them how what you're doing daily in your time is creating what you're becoming permanently. That successful people don't decide their success, they decide their daily routine. They decide their daily routine. What you're doing daily is moving you to what you're becoming permanently. What you're doing daily is moving you to what you're becoming permanently. So what are the steps of a successful routine? Well, you've got to start with right thinking. Number one, you've got to start with right thinking. Right thinking. Because right thinking will create right words. Right thinking will create right words. And there is no one more convinced of your words than you. No one believes in your words more than you do. So what you think about, you bring about through your words. Life and death are in the power of the tongue. Right thoughts create right words. We're talking about 5 steps to a successful routine. Number 3, right words will create your right actions. Actions always follow words. Actions always follow words. Actions always follow words. Number 4, thoughts, words, action. Here's the key. Number 4 is the key. When you repeat an action, it becomes a habit. When you repeat an action, it becomes a habit. I have a repeated action. It's a habit. It's called donuts. I love donuts. Watch this now. I have created through repeated action eating donuts, though I've had people tell me you should stop eating donuts, that they're really not good for you. Here's the problem. My repeated action created a habit. Number 5, my habits have created my routine. My habits have created my routine. If I want to change my time routine of every day, I've got to change first the way I think. I've got to change the way I speak. I've got to change my actions. And then number 4, I've got to change my repeated actions. And I must do this for 31 days. For 31 days, I must not eat a donut. For 31 days. I remember when I stopped drinking soft drinks. I said I will stop doing it, and it nearly killed me. But for 31 days, I never picked up a soft drink. I did away with the sugar. I did away with all the things that were in it. It was hard. It was difficult. It took me 31 days, but I had to think. I had to speak. I had to act. I had to repeat the action, and that created a routine. A routine, now watch this and write this down. A routine creates an unconscious schedule in your day. You are just repeating a habit which has become a routine. It is an unconscious schedule in your day. Routine identifies doors for others to have access. There's something in the psyche of people who love routine. When the fall arrives and children go back to school, it forces parents to get back into a routine. It forces families to get back into a routine, and they're happier than they were in the summer because there was no routine. Chaos was in control. There was no time controls. They would say things like, I wish I could find the time. You will never find time because time is not lost. You must assign a purpose to your day or someone else will. Let's just say you're at home and the phone rings and you answer the phone. You pick up the phone and you answer the phone and you say hello, and it's your best friend. And your best friend says, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? And you give them the dumbest answer that you possibly could. You say, I'm doing nothing. There should never be a moment in your life that you're doing nothing. Well, what if I want to lay down? Assign a purpose to a nap. I do every day. When I heard that Sir Winston Churchill and Ronald Reagan all took naps, I was in. I was in, because I start my day early and I'm going till late in the night. And I've got to stop. I've got to stop and have a little break. And if I don't assign a purpose for my nap, someone will assign a purpose for that 45 minutes, that hour. I will pay the price later that night. You must assign a purpose for every hour of your day. Now, listen to what I'm about to tell you. How can you get your life right if you can't get a day right? How can you be successful in your life if you're not successful in your day? You must have a routine that cannot be broken. You must have a routine that cannot be broken. What's the number one reason people move out of their routine? Is their focus is broken. Their focus on their routine of what they must accomplish has been broken. What breaks your focus? A crisis. A crisis. It happens to all of us. It happens to all of us. Things happen in life. A crisis will break your focus. That's why you must get back into your daily routine. You must get back into your daily routine. One of the reasons that time, and we're teaching you about time, must be married to decisiveness. Time must be married to being a decision maker. Time must be married to being a decision maker. Indecision is only caused by one thing. Indecision is only caused by one thing. And that one thing is this word. Write it down. Fear. Indecision is only created out of fear. James chapter 1 and verse number 8 says, a double-minded man. What's a double-minded man? A double-minded man is someone or woman is someone who tells you this is what I want to do. This is what I will do. This is what my plan is. But they don't do it. They don't accomplish it. They allow something or someone or somebody to interrupt, distract, destroy, to divert from their plan, from their decided goal. You see, God gives you 24 hours in the day, just like He gives everyone else. You must begin to put decision making. But Dr. Kreitz, I've made some poor decisions. We all have. We all have. I've made some very stupid decisions in my life. And have I had to pay the stupid tax? I certainly have. I certainly have. But I pay the stupid tax and I move on. And I move on. Procrastination is a part of a fear-based thinking. Procrastination is a part of a fear-based thinking. You procrastinate because you don't want to have to face the task. That's why you've got to own the morning. I want you to write that down. You've got to own the morning. If you own the morning, you will always own your day. If you own the morning, you will always own your day. Procrastination is the greatest thief of opportunity. How do I avoid that, Dr. Kreitz? Establish time frames and deadlines. Time frames and deadlines. Time frames and deadlines. Time frames and deadlines. Write the deadline on the calendar, circle it as a reminder that you've got to pull the trigger on some things. Right now, I'm on deadline on writing some books, and I'm waiting for some information. If that information doesn't come in the next 24 to 48 hours, I'm going to need to make a decision. I'm going to need to make a decision and pull the trigger. Pull the trigger. Pull the trigger and make a decision. Have you ever noticed when you go to the airport, no matter what's happened in your life, no matter how difficult the traffic was, no matter how challenging it is, the bottom line is the airplane, the jet, the flight is not going to wait on you, because they have established time frames and deadlines. That jet has to leave this terminal, this airport, to be at this airport. And if you want to ride, you better fit within their time frame. Oh, you say that's just too much pressure. Well, you have two choices. Learn how to work within time frames, or walk or ride everywhere. Walk or ride. You'll get there. You'll get to where you're going. You just won't get there that quick. We're talking about time management. We're giving you some insights from the book, A Weapon Called Time. An incredible book. This is your textbook. I want to talk to you in the time that remains out of chapter number 6, The Weapon of Tomorrow Thinking. The weapon of tomorrow thinking. You can't and you will not move into your tomorrow. You can't and you will not move into your tomorrow with yesterday's thinking. When tomorrow arrives, I like to say it this way, when tomorrow arrives, here's today, when tomorrow arrives, it's renamed today. When tomorrow arrives, it's renamed today. If you've not made any planning, if you've not made any correct planning into your tomorrow, watch this, your tomorrow is going to look a lot like your yesterday. You ever been somewhere and you've been around people and you say, they just never change. They're the same as they were 10 years ago, 20 years ago. They're just living in today, but the truth of the matter is, they're living in their yesterday. They're living in their yesterday. And one of the greatest secrets about time is that time does nothing for your yesterday. There's nothing you can do about your yesterday. There's not a thing you can change about yesterday. Then what do I do with today? Today was provided for you. Today was provided for you to get ready for your tomorrow. Today was provided for you to prepare for your tomorrow. That's why chapter 6 of the book teaches you the weapon of tomorrow thinking. One of my favorite places is Disney World. My wife would live there. give her an apartment on Main Street. She would be very happy. One of our favorite places to go to every now and again is the Epcot Center. The environmental prototype community of tomorrow. When it was in the blueprint stage, designed by Walt Disney himself, before it was completed, Walt Disney died. Years later, Epcot Center was finished. And they were going to have the ribbon cutting ceremony. They invited the governor, they invited the senators, they invited business people. It was a big to-do. And the widow of Walt Disney, Mrs. Disney, was sitting quietly on the platform and not scheduled to speak. Some sincere man, sincerely wrong, but sincere man, got up to speak and said this: I only wish Mr. Disney could have seen this. I only wish Mr. Disney could have seen this. Mrs. Disney was not scheduled to speak, but she pushed herself, her little frail frame, out of her chair, and she made her way to the podium, and the crowd was quiet. All the guests on the roster were quiet. And Mrs. Disney said this: Sir, if my husband had not seen this, you would have never seen this. Time is a forecast to the tomorrow thinker. They're using today for what you will see tomorrow. They're using today to plan what will manifest tomorrow. You must, in the realm of time, become a tomorrow thinker. That's why most tomorrow thinkers are misunderstood. Most tomorrow thinkers are uncelebrated. They're caught in a world of those who want to hold on to yesterday, the good old days. But tomorrow thinking requires you to embrace the unknown. You've got to face every fear with great faith and overcome every obstacle. Overcome every obstacle. I'm teaching you from a weapon called time, your textbook. You're going to love this book. You're going to love the time that's invested into this. You're going to love the research, the training. But most importantly, it's going to begin to change the way you think. What you think about, you do bring about. What you think about, you do bring about. If you wake in the morning and all you're doing is reacting through your day, reacting to this, responding to this, you'll never be successful. You'll never be successful. You were not called to be a reactor. You're not called to be an actor. What you're called to do is to go into action and to make the play in the time frame that it will be accomplished in a short period of time. I talk to people all the time. What are you working on? Oh, this and that. They can't be specific about a goal. Someone asked me the question the other day, Dr. Kreitz, how do I get a handle? Just tell me the bottom line, how I can get a handle on my time. And here is the very simple answer to that. You get a handle on your time. You get a handle on your time when you get a goal in your mind. You get a handle on your time when you get a goal in your mind. Until there is a target, until there is a goal, there is no implementation of thought, of planning. 2 o'clock is the same as 2 a.m. to you. 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. are interspersible. You must know how to set time frames. You must know how to have a goal, because your goal will create the time frames to accomplish this. And then as you begin to build momentum and you begin to accelerate, you collapse the time frame and you create more opportunity in that time frame to do things. Are people paid what they're worth? Of course not. You're paid to what you agreed to give your time away. I want you to hear what I'm about to tell you. We all trade our time. We all trade our time. The gentleman that picked up the trash out in the front of my home this morning, emptied the trash, is paid a certain wage per hour. He agreed upon that. I don't know if he's paid too much, he's paid too little, I don't know. At the same time, early this morning he was doing that, there was a surgeon in the hospital up the road performing a surgery that he had set aside time, an hour or 2 hours for that surgery. Is he paid what he's worth? I don't know. I don't know. But he's made the decision to trade his time for a specific amount. What are you trading your time for? What are you trading your time for? What is your ROI? What is your return on investment? When you do an investment into a person, a place, what is your return on your time? What is the return on your time? What is the return on your time? I'm Dr. Paul Kreitz. I'm the Chancellor of New Covenant University, and I'm making you think. I want you to think today. I always say this, if you think twice, you'll be the smartest one in your family. But we're talking about time. You know, when you're young, it seems like the day will never end. Life moves in time. Life moves in seasons. Life moves in stages. Time is so important. But you must assign a purpose to your time. It's going to require you to think. It's going to require you to have a goal. It's going to require you to evaluate on a regular basis what you are doing with your time. So what are you doing with your time? How are you utilizing your time? Are you mastering your time, or is time mastering you? Do you jump out of bed in the morning just reacting and moving forward all the time? Trying to put out this fire, trying to do this, trying to do that? Or do you have a master time plan for your life? Do you have a master, and have you begin to reach the stages where that's become a reality? Or have you begin to reach the stage where you realize you have less time in front of you than you have time behind you? It's a sobering moment. It's a sobering moment to realize that. You can't invest into everybody. You can't impact everybody. You can't change everybody. You really can't change anyone. They've got to want to change themselves. But you can make the decision. You can make the decision and understand the only difference in people is what they know And the only distinction between people is how they use their time. How they use their time. This has been an incredible teaching opportunity today. I hope that you'll work very hard on your studies. I hope to shake your hand when you walk across the platform. I hope that anything I can do will encourage you and motivate you and inspire you to finish your degree. Don't give up. Don't let anything distract you from doing that which God has called you to do. It's very, very important that starting today, you establish time frames. It's very important today that you have a goal in your mind. You have a goal in your mind. And you're always working toward that goal. All right? Thank you so much for connecting with me. It's a great pleasure to have you on this teaching, and get all of your assignments in, get your reports in, and let's just make everything really work well. And until next time, this is Dr. Paul Kreitz. I'll see you soon, and always remember, walk in wisdom and win in life.